Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today in obvious news, the US government is buying data on us, on Americans. Oh, and for the record, there's almost no oversight on this as well. Now, here's what's going on. This is coming from NBC News. There's also other sources on this one as well. U.S. intelligence agencies are buying and storing personal information on Americans with, like I said, little to no oversight, very few guidelines, and worse, according to a new government report. Now, this report, which the Office of the Director of National Intelligence published this past Monday, offers insight at how U.S. intelligence agencies have capitalized on the widespread availability of for-purchase data on you and me. Now, the partially declassified report is dated January of 2022. Its author is redacted, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence did not respond to requests to comment from news outlets. Now, unchecked over-reliance on commercially available information poses a threat to Americans, according to the report. Well, yeah, that's pretty obvious. Now, commercially purchased data can, quote, reveal sensitive and intimate information about the personal attributes, private behavior, social connections, and speech of U.S. persons and non-U.S. persons. It can be misused to pry into private lives, ruin reputations, and cause emotional distress and threaten the safety of individuals. Even subject to privacy to appropriate controls, CAI can increase the power of the government's ability to peer into private lives to levels that may exceed our constitutional traditions or social expectations, end quote. Holy cow. And yeah, I mean, we all know that person that uses Facebook or whatever as a personal therapy group, just thinking it's, me and my 8,000 friends, when it's you, your 8,000 friends, 80,000 employees of Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg that can all see your stuff. Not to mention, half of these things are enabled for web searches because people don't know how to put on privacy control. So, of course, everybody is scraping this, and now apparently they're selling it to the government. Now, government agencies, for the record, have to navigate an array of laws that often prevent them from tracking Americans without a court order or a warrant. But, and this is the important thing, there are few legal restrictions on private companies that buy, repackage, and sell personal data, which the report calls commercially available data, or CAI, as I just mentioned. Now, that has allowed an entire cottage industry of data brokers essentially to make a huge amount of money by selling very specific information about people. Agencies in the U.S. intelligence community can simply buy that information from companies that collect it. Don't need a warrant. They've already got it. Just pay for it. And I quote, the intelligence community currently acquires a significant amount of CAI for mission-related purposes, including in some cases, social media data. Now, the report's authors also cite a wide range of examples of government agencies considering and potentially using contracts with private companies to buy personal data. So the DIA, or Defense Intelligence Agency, contracts with LexisNexis. The Navy is contracting with a company called Sayara Analytics for a database of people who might be tied to sanctioned people, and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, contracts cybersecurity company ZeroFox for social media alerts, I'm assuming on suspects of some kind. But again, we're talking about American citizen data here, not just foreigners. Now, the Department of Homeland Security has used Web of Science, a clearinghouse for academic studies, to identify foreign researchers working in the United States who were tied to their home country's militaries, according to this report as well. The Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, was working out its own policies on using this kind of data. As of the date of the report when this was released, the agency did not respond to requests for an update on their policies. Now, the privacy dangers go beyond the U.S. government, according to this report, because foreign intelligence agencies have similar access to those companies and can buy our data as well. Meaning, if our intelligence agencies are going and getting social media and potentially damning information, according to this report, on us, foreign intelligence agencies can go to these private brokers and spend the money too. Why not? It's all up in the air. Concerns, obviously, about foreign government access to data on Americans has grown in recent years. I mean, TikTok is the perfect example of that. I just literally did a video/podcast a couple of days ago on Tenmu, which is a new, what looks like a scam, but is kind of shady, based out of the Cayman Islands, but a Chinese corporation. It's a whole mess. Many privacy experts have also stressed that while concerns about TikTok bear discussion, they miss the broader data privacy issues that the U.S. has to address. Exactly. This is what we're talking about. Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat of Oregon, who initially asked the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, to release this report, said that it showed that basically the United States needs more digital privacy protections for its citizens. I have been talking about that for years. We need a GDPR, not just from the websites and platforms we use, but from the government itself. If we have a right to privacy here, per the Fourth Amendment, and the right to basically not self-incriminate ourselves, Fifth Amendment, then absolutely we have the ability to protect our digital data as well. And according to Senator Wyden, who is doing the cyber lord's work for the record, and I quote, "This review shows the government's existing policies have failed to provide essential safeguards for Americans' privacy or oversight of how the agencies buy and use personal data. Congress needs to pass legislation to put guardrails around government purchases, to rein in private companies that collect and sell data, and keep Americans' personal information out of the hands of our adversary." Yes, absolutely. I don't understand why anybody would be installing TikTok or Tenmu or giving basically the feeding the beast, if you will, of social media, the Facebooks, Instagrams, Twitters of the world, with private and personal information that could potentially get you exposed, blackmailed, God knows what, accidentally connected to a terrorist. I mean, things like this happen. Somebody spent literally a year in jail because AI's facial recognition essentially misidentified that individual, and he literally made it out of the legal system after a year in jail due to a mistake by an agency. So these are things that are happening constantly, but understand that our data, as more we're putting it out there, you can follow me on all of these social media platforms, but outside of, let's say, my professional pictures or, these videos and podcasts and all of that, I don't post personal stuff. I don't. And that's the key here. I mean, am I married? Am I single? Am I whatever? People don't know these things. What do I do? What are my personal hobbies? I don't talk about these things because it gives people a profile that can be basically bought by one of these data aggregators and literally sold to an intelligence agency, as we know. So please make sure that you're limiting your social media time. You're not putting personal stuff in there. Basically, you probably could be getting into a facial recognition database above and beyond Facebook, but Facebook is selling that stuff to the FBI, which we learned previously. So it goes for any major social media platform. If it's free to you, you're the product. Please try and just attempt to be private, as I constantly say at the end of all of these preambles, but it is so unbelievably important. And we've got some very serious problems, and we do need laws. And now I'm going to shut up because, quite frankly, this is just... it's shocking, but it's not. And I think you know what I mean. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where it will be sold to intelligence agencies. Same with YouTube, where you should subscribe to me. Also sold to intelligence agencies. And as always, stay safe, stay online. And I'm not even going to tell you to attempt to stay private, because apparently that's not going to be a thing. Take care.